Ew. This is Dash, and I am out in the garage, and it is about time I make something. So first up, I have to organize my wood. So if you guys have been watching for a while, I have a wood pile that's closer to the house. It's against the fence, but it's pretty far away, and I want to take advantage of some underutilized space. So my plan is to take that underutilized space and make a rack. I was gonna say a wood rack, but a rack made from metal, so that I can stack some wood and have a small wood pile directly right outside of my garages here, where I do the majority of the cooking.
Get ready.
So you might be asking yourself, wow, Dash knows how to make a wood rack? No, but Dash has some tools and the ability, the thought. So what I'm gonna do is basically make it. I have an idea in my head. I won't say scrap metal, but I have some metal here, and I have some metal in the back of the garage there that I'm going to figure out exactly how much metal I have, and then make a rack. The rack might be 4 or 5 feet long by 4 or maybe 3 to 5 feet high, and I want to make it that they're like 2 C channels more or less, but the C's will be laying down and the posts will be up so that it'll hold the wood, and I want to have a space in between them of about 10 to 12 inches. So it depends on what material I have, and then I'll figure the rest out. All right, so I figure I'll get my metal out first and make a plan after I get everything out, and I can figure out how much metal I have. All right, so I have 3 sticks of square tube, and this is, I think it's 1/8 inch square tube. Don't get me to lying, I have forgotten all of the metal speak. So I think 1/8 inches, I don't know. Don't get me to lying. But I do believe it's 1/8 inch thick, 1/8 inch wall thick. All right, so let's figure out what I have. I have 2 sticks that are the same length. These, if I had to guess, they're probably 10 feet. Oh, look at that, they're 12 feet long. And this one is probably 8 feet, if I had to guess. And we're a little over 8 feet. So I can, from the 2 long sticks I have, I can make 3, because they're 12 feet long, I can make 3 4-foot sections. And then on the other stick that's 8 feet long, I can make 8 12-inch sections. Or actually, let's see how many inches I have here. So we have 103 inches. Let's say if I make them 10 inches, first thing, I gotta clear off my chop saw area. And I think I'll close the garage door. That'll give me some more light. Remember I said this was the dumping area? All right, so I am going to start measuring for my cuts, and then I will figure out everything else once I get it all taken care of. I have 8 feet or a little over 8 feet on this piece here, and then 12 feet on each of those sections. So those sections I'm going to cut into 4 foot lengths. So it'll be 4 feet long and 4 feet high, which basically will give me about like a quarter of a cord maybe. I think that's what it is. So, but these sections here, or this section here, I'm going to end up cutting this in lengths of 12 inches, but I'm going to do 12 and an eighth to account for the saw blade. And actually I don't have to, because if they're all 12 inches, it really is not going to matter if I cut on the same side. And if 1 or 2 are an eighth of an inch short, it really isn't going to make that big of a difference, big of a deal. All right, so I'm going to start by cutting this in half, make it more manageable, and then kind of go from there. Do this the right way and put a square mark. I'll use this blue square here on top of each of these cuts. Make it easier for myself to see where I need to cut. So this is a silver pen. You can get it from a like welding supply house. Just gonna make these marks easier for myself to see. And why, yes, I can and will cut both of these pieces at the same time. Make it easier for myself. So I made a 4 foot measurement and an 8 foot measurement, and those will be my 2 cuts. I'll square this up. And I'll get my other stick so we can make both of these cuts at the same time. The good thing about these cuts is they don't have to be perfect. They just have to be good enough for government work. All right, so we have our sections here. I'm gonna lay everything out. All right, so at this point, clean up. I have a grinder here with a sanding disc. Time to clean up all of these pieces, starting with the 12-inch pieces. How did y'all let me forget to do the other side on 3 of these in a row? Come on. Okay, so hopefully you guys understood what I was saying when I said I wanted to build a C, have an upright like this, and then another upright like this for my, you know, for this to come together. But I need to have some sort of legs probably. No, not really. I can actually just have it just like this because it's just gonna sit on the ground. And if it's just sitting there squared up, it'll probably be just fine. All right. So now to try to decide, let's see, well, I guess figure out where I'm going to put everything. This is where I have to figure out which would be better, to have this butt up with the side this way, or for this to come on top of it that way. I'm thinking I might do that. Know which would be better. I really don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. I mean, this thing is just holding wood. It's not going to be doing anything structural. I don't know which would be better. Actually, this will probably be better because it'll be holding weight. So if I have this here, the weld will be here, and it could probably, I don't know, which is better. I do not know. This is why I am not an engineer, especially not a structural engineer. All right, I think I don't know what way I'm going to do it. Obviously, I know that whatever way I do it, it has to be the same on either side, and both. I think I'm going with it this way, with the long piece laying down flat and the rising piece coming up, butting up to the end. So let's clean this edge up. I have to get the welder now. And let's, not even gonna lie, let's hope and pray that the welder doesn't trip the circuit. It's been a hot minute since I've used this thing. Wonder if it still works. All right, here goes nothing. are successfully melting metal. Now, so something I realized after I was getting this set up, I don't have any welding gas. The welding gas, of course, in my tank leaked out while this was inoperable. So I'm going to kind of glob this up on here as best I can. And again, this is not anything structural. This is really just holding up some wood so I can get it up off of the ground. I'm going to do my best to melt this metal and figure the rest out. That's not going to work. One down. Guess who forgot the ground strap or ground clamp? How am I going to do this? Oh, I can weld these on there and stand them off and then just clamp everything else together. It's really not going to matter where I put these because they'll kind of match. Does that make sense? It makes sense to me. That's all that matters. We're close enough. This is again another one of those good enough for government work. So obviously you see we're definitely not in square. So I'm trying to figure out the best way to get this working. I don't know if I just start on one edge. Actually, I probably should start at the bottom, lift the whole thing up, and then I can square it on the table. That's smart. So when I welded these bars to hold everything together, I only welded one edge so that I could, you know, move these bars around. I won't say accordingly, but as I needed to in order to try and square this whole thing up. So let's try to make sure this is the same length here. And we'll pull this in together and we'll get this welded. All right, so there we have it. Had I thought about it when I was doing this, I would have made the top two pieces 14 inches, because this is 12, so an inch on either side is gonna be 14. I would have made them 14 inches wide or long so that I could cap this whole thing off. The top pieces right now are open and they are welded at the bottom, which means any water or moisture that gets down in here will probably be stuck down at the bottom and it could rust away. So I will figure out a solution. The solution is probably just gonna be put a piece of angle iron on the top to kind of make just a cap, if you will. Before you go, I'm gonna clean up the area where this is gonna go and I'll show you guys. Here it is. All right, so thanks again. Please hit that thumbs up button for me. Subscribe if you like what you saw. If you learned something, like what you saw, or you learned something today, feel free to leave me a comment down below and tell me, would you buy one of these? Not that I'm offering, it's just fodder for the comments down below. Anyway, thanks again. I'll see you next time.
More butter, baby.